Sid, you guys run out of the camp with the war chief right on your tail. You see Daniel and Sabriel and Jahgardi split off from y'all, going the other direction. Then you see this flash of light, and Jahgardi is thrown backward, and Jahgardi lands next to y'all, and you can't see Daniel or Sabriel.
Can I send Skip up to see where everyone's going?
Sure. Skip flies up into the air and starts looking around. Give me what's his passive perception, and then give me a perception check.
Stew Dragon, passive perception. 13.
13.
And then his perception is a 19.
Okay, cool. So you, he flies up there and sees Sabriel engaged in a melee with a bunch of people, but you don't see Daniel.
Does it see any of the other groups?
You don't see any of the other groups.
I'll send Skip down to help Sabriel.
Cool. Gonna leave him there?
Yeah.
Skip flies down, and then an arrow pierces Skip, and he dies.
You're so mean!
What do you mean I'm mean?
If
you went to fight, Sabriel is surrounded by people.
Oh, I thought you said he was engaged with a group.
Yes!
That was not what I was imagining. You should say is surrounded by a group. Well, if okay. Well, obviously, I have the ability to snap Skip out of reality and next to me. So
is that a reaction?
No, I think it's an action.
Then no, he's dead.
Okay.
You're gonna have to resummon him later.
You're so
mean. I rolled. What do you want from me? Anyways, you but however, you did take the nat 20 away from hitting Sabriel, so
that's good.
So Jahgardi, you stand up. You're suddenly standing next to Sid and the war chief. Do you say anything, or do y'all just start running?
I'm just gonna say, "Come on, let's move."
Yeah. Sid is going to pull him up and start running.
Cool. War chief takes off with y'all. Y'all start running through the night. So we're going to do some travel checks. The way I do travel checks is you cover an amount of ground in a day, and it's, whatever a travel day is. In this case, it's 8 hours. Y'all have to make it a distance of 48 miles. So, to start with, I'm going to ask each of you, both of you, to roll 2d6. So go to spam and roll 2d6 apiece, please.
I got a 5 and a 2.
8. Cool. 15. Cool. Y'all don't make the DC. So y'all are running over to the river. Y'all make it to the river. Sorry, you don't quite make it to the river. I need one of you, I don't care who, to roll a d20. You guys are running, and down by the forest, as you guys get close to the water, you'll see a light shining. As you pull closer to the light, you guys see a bunch of small plant-looking things dashing around. And in the middle of them is this fire elemental. and it's like trying to burn up these little twig things. What do y'all do? It doesn't look like any of them are focused. It doesn't look like any of them are focused on you, and you could probably run past them without problem.
Can I see what the little twig guys are doing to the elemental to see why it's doing it?
Give me an insight check.
Can both of my characters make one?
Sure.
Okay. Lot 19.
Looks like the little tree things are just running away.
I don't know. I gotta look to Jahgardi.
Jahgardi, what do you do?
Quick insight. What looks to be the problem now?
The twigs are running
elementals.
away from the fire elemental.
Okay, and the fire elemental is attacking them. Okay,
Yes.
sounds.
Man, it looks like y'all could. It looks like y'all could go past it without it getting any paying attention to y'all at all. Doesn't look like it's interested in anything else in these twigs.
How many twigs are there?
4. Hold up. Yeah, 4.
4 twigs.
Wait a second. Wait a second. How many are there? There are 7. They're all small.
And the war chief is also with us.
Yes.
Right? I'm just gonna pass them up.
Cool.
I don't care. I'm in a foreign land.
Cool. So y'all just run by. War chief follows.
Yeah, I'll run by. I won't care.
Okay. Cool. So you run by. Just keep heading on your way. And then cool. I need y'all to roll an additional I need y'all to roll an additional. Wait. I need both of you to roll Constitution saves for your characters, please.
Ooh.
And I will roll for the war chief. Not 2, Siren.
What? Because of
A single. Oh,
okay.
Right. Yes. Never mind.
Wow.
Never mind. Jahgardi, gain a level of exhaustion. Let me roll for the.
Okay.
I got 9 for both my characters.
Cool. There's a lot of people getting very exhausted. War Chief gains a level of exhaustion. Jahgardi gains a level of exhaustion. Sabriel and Sid both gain a level of exhaustion as y'all are just running through the night. Roll 2d6 again, please. Each of you. Cool. Yeah, y'all are running.
2 and 3.
Y'all make it the rest of the way through a couple of things. You get about, y'all make really good progress. Y'all y'all ignore the little things behind y'all. Because of that, y'all are able to just get down to the river. You get there. You don't see anyone here. Give me survival checks or perception, either one.
Per character? Per character?
Yes.
Can that include my familiar?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, so 11.
11. And Siren?
I got a 17, 12, and 3.
Samantha, do you remember what your stealth check was?
Which one?
The first one, the one y'all made at the river.
We didn't make one at the river.
You didn't make one at the river? Cool.
No.
Y'all look down, y'all see some tracks leading off into the desert from this. One of them are the big, heavy footprints of Libby's boots. Another one looks like the small, dainty footprints of Liza. You're gonna sit, just take off running in that direction.
Yeah.
The war chief follows. Jahgardi goes as well, I assume.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah. Might as
y'all
well.
head off in that direction. Y'all start running. Okay. Go ahead and give me another Constitution check, please.
Pretty sure I passed. 15, 17 and a 21.
Yeah. No, RD20. War Chief fails and gains another level of exhaustion.
Natural 20.
Nat 20.
Hey.
Lose your previous instance of exhaustion.
Yay. Oh, while I pass the tracks, can I spend a few seconds trying to cover them up after I get further into the desert?
Sure, give me a deception check.
Can I
Okay.
help him?
Can you help him?
Me do it? You should help me do it.
I thought of it. Oh, I'm not deceptive. That is a natural
Yes,
one.
you can give him the help action.
Or can I do it myself?
Can you go back and
Nope.
cover them up? Yeah, no, you may
Okay,
not.
whatever. You do it.
Yeah, just roll. Go ahead and roll at advantage. 12
You should have let me do it.
plus
Plus 11. Plus 10.
12,
No.
6. So that's 18.
18. Cool. You cover it up and turn around and run. You're able to just scatter the wind, the dirt. Y'all look at the war chief and he does not look good. He is just slouching. He's limping. He looks hurt, and give me perception checks if you want to.
Okay. By the way, my passive perception is 17, but I'll
Cool.
still roll.
The war chief looks mentally exhausted. He looks physically exhausted. He looks emotionally drained. He's just not here.
And Sid go up to him and kind of put a hand on his arm and say, just a little bit longer.
The war chief looks at Sid. And because you made it Sid, roll a persuasion check with advantage, please.
Are you kidding me?
Oh,
Persuasion, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11.
The war chief kind of smiles, forces a smile onto his face and says, "Shining One, I will run." And war chief keeps moving, but his faith, he does not have his energy. Y'all remember, you look back when you first met the war chief and he came out next to the shaman and he was just this boisterous, "I'm right here, yeah!" Y'all remember, "God fighter!" And then, "Let me show you how to headbutt!" And splits a rock with his forehead. There is no drive. There is no energy. His feet are lethargically falling on the ground as he trots along behind y'all.
Sid will run beside him.
Go ahead and make another travel check, please. Both of you.
2d6.
Oh, Spencer, please roll better.
All right.
A little bit.
Nice.
8.
So dawn comes around, the sun rises. Y'all keep running. I need whoever you want to roll a d20.
I can.
You can? Okay.
Please? Good. That's alright.
No freaking way.
I can't tell if this is a good or a bad.
Hold up. No freaking way. As the day begins to dawn and y'all are running, you hear a you look up, and in the still, dawn, dark sky, you see a streak of fire split the sky. It soars not 20 meters above you and slams about 200, 300 yards away, and a massive explosion goes up and throws dust everywhere.
Is it the ship?
The ship? Oh. Give me a perception check.
Okay.
Everyone?
If you want to, yeah.
Okay, 17.
17.
No.
Cool. Skid can give advantage.
Rather it just... Oh. Okay, yeah, I
Cool.
see.
It is not. Skid is flying above, and he looks over there, and as the dust begins to clear, Skid's, inhuman eyes glance down. And there's a figure of a man there. What?
Heracles?
Heracles? It does not... it's a big, muscular man, if
Apollo.
that's what you're asking.
All of fire coming down from the sky. I have no clue.
Do you guys go investigate it, or do y'all keep running?
Can Skid fly forward a little bit closer to see?
Skid can fly down, yeah. It's this man without hair, very large, 8, 9 feet tall,
Wayne the Rock Jackson.
green, opalescent skin stretching over its body, no hair on any part of it. It's got, its torso is shaped into something that looks like armor. Just its flesh itself is its armor. Its eyes, open, and it looks up with just these brilliant white jewels at Skid.
I have no clue who this is. Should we know?
Should you know?
Not that I know.
It begins to stand, and feathers begin to fall from its back, and skeletal wings shrivel to ash
Oh no!
and fall to dust.
This guy is an Azamar! Oh no. Can I have Skid psychically communicate, be like, are you okay?
The thing looks up at Skid, and in a blink, faster than you can think, the thing is now standing next to Skid.
It's still up in the air though.
Mm-hmm. And it extends its hand next to Skid and kneels down. As green, holy white energy begins to fall off of it. It extends its hand outward and just sits there kneeling, holding its hand towards Skid.
Skid will land on the hand?
This thing looks at Skid deeply in its eyes, and you feel in the very bowels of your soul. There is no language, there is no command, there are no words. You just feel sorrow. You feel anger and hatred. Not hatred, disappointment, guilt, trepidation, fear. Give me a history check, Siren, with advantage, please.
Okay. That is a 19, 23.
This is a being of the higher planes. This is a planetar from Mount Celesti. It's an angel. So specifically, it's an angel that has just fallen. And it's holding Skid. And it just communicates to you through this raw connection. And then it stands up, turns into light, and disappears. And a laser fires off into the dawn.
We should keep moving.
Yeah.
Cool. Go ahead and roll another Constitution save, please.
16.
Sid is
Who is-
exhausted, probably.
Okay, Sid gains a second level of exhaustion. War Chief gains a third level of exhaustion. Skid flies back over to the group and swoops down, landing on Sid's shoulder. And there's a green opalescent glow about it.
Ooh. Wow. Angel's wish. Or something.
I'm going to do something I haven't done before. Skid, as you fly back to your master, you land on your master's shoulder, and you feel within you this power that you've never felt before. You can do something. You don't know what, but you know that you can do something. Do you do anything, or do you just keep going?
I think Skid will try to use
What's
the
he gonna
power.
What's he gonna do?
What does this power feel like?
You just know it feels like light. Like there's this warmth to it. It's almost like you know that feeling of longing that you get when you're really, really sad and alone, and then someone calls you and you go, oh wow, now I feel kind of okay. That little warm feeling you get, that's what the power feels like.
I want to do something, but I don't know if it's stupid. Can I try to reach out to the dimension that was destroyed?
Can you reach out to the dimension that was destroyed?
Like Zolkinya, any of those people.
Do you want to reach into this other dimension?
Or see if I can feel anything that's left.
You want to use this power to try and reach into that other dimension. Okay.
To see if there's anything.
Percentile dice, please.
45.
As you reach into this and you feel this power like split the world in front of you, Skid's eyes become green and white. And you see swirling magic and power and possibility. And in the middle of that little universe, you feel something. You feel alone. Loss. Like something is here that knows it is here. As you stare into this universe, two red eyes open and stare back. And you see a face, not unkind face, a human face. It's got pale skin, black hair, a black suit, this this little corduroy, it's not a corduroy, this really nice, tuxedo, like silken thing. There's a little tie sitting there. The figure standing before you, you don't see most of its body, you just see its face and its upper torso. It tilts its head sideways and says, "So this is what it means to be a god."
Who are you?
The world envelops Skid. And Skid sees crackling power and thunder and a little rock. And it's standing on a little rock. And in front of him, the clouds part. And he sees, looking outward, standing up, is this woman with this black hair and the suit. And she says, "I go by many names." She turns and looks back and says, "Have you always been alive? You seem to be a familiar, but yet you have a soul. When did this happen?"
I didn't realize that I got a soul. What does that mean?
It leans down and touches your torso, or I guess your forehead in this case, and says, "It means that you are valuable, that you are precious, and it means not to lose sight of those things. Like I did."
What happened to the place where I was from?
She looks around and says, "Magic cascaded and tore it apart. And this is what is left."
What about the things that were in it?
She gestures.
So the people...
"I'm sorry, little one. You and I are all that is left."
and my master. Who are you before?
Before? I was nothing before. I did not exist. Well, not as you would understand it. I wanted to be a god.
You think you'll ever be able to get out?
She turns and looks at you and says, "I am part of this world. In a way, I am this world. To leave it would be to leave myself. It would be the ultimate undoing. For now, I must live with what I have wrought. I must reap that which I have sown." And the clouds begin to close back in.
I think
The girl-
as the clouds go back in, Skid just says, "I'm sorry."
The girl smiles and says, kneels down, begins to stand back up and says, "There is nothing to be sorry for. Perhaps in my solitude I can at last find peace." Skid returns to your reality with a thunder of power. He tears through reality. His claws begin to grow. His neck extends a little bit and his scales grow a little thicker. And you gain the investment of the Chainmaster.
Wait, for free?
No, it's like an invocation that you've got.
Yeah. But on top of the vocations that I get?
No, that's just like you getting it. And, I'm sorry, yes, it is on top of it. Yes, it's a free invocation.
Getting all of them.
And you guys keep running. Give me another travel check.
What was that about?
Skid is now an awakened thing, having his own soul.
Can I tell?
Yes, that's why I just...
Yes!
told.
Don't have time to unpack everything right now. I'll figure it out once we reach
Y'all arrive
safety.
at this, after dawn, midway through dawn. Y'all reach this little cavernous place. These tall caverns, little canyon routes. And you'll make your way through. There's this derelict campground that's been sitting there for a while. You'll make y'all's way through. You're rounding through a couple of things, and I need one of you to roll a d20, please.
Okay.
Oh, me too again. I've had good luck. Watch me get that one.
I rolled 3 naturals. One of them
Let's
was
not
20.
have you roll this.
I mean, if you want
Do
to.
it. Do it. Do it. Do it. Good vibes. Good vibes.
Natural 20!
Y'all go through, and there is a shittering and a chittering. And
Perception checks.
you don't need to. A group of hobgoblins jump out of the trees. There are not trees, the caverns. They just come out of the cavern walls. They've got swords. They twirl them. There are so many of them. And they begin to close in, and then you hear a... "You have no power. I am the one that gives the orders. You shall turn and flee." You look up, and there is a shadowy figure with a beam of light reaching down. A hand extends, and vines begin to grow. And the hobgoblins look up, fear in their eyes, and they turn and start running. The figure lowers its hands and says, "Sid, Jahgardi, come quickly. We must be away." And turns and begins to walk. His walk does not match his speed. His feet hit the ground at a consistent pace, but he's moving faster than his pace would suggest he should be moving.
Where's the
Do y'all...
Yeah, where's the war chief?
Oh, the war chief is there as well.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess we follow. Not like we have much other choice.
Yeah.
Cool.
Yeah.
Y'all follow till y'all arrive at this little oasis thing in the middle of the caverns. And you walk in, and you see Ronan, and Samantha, and Libby, and Liza, and Melandra lounging in the corner, just in the pool. Melandra is, for the first time y'all have ever seen her without her helmet on. Her helmet is off. set to the side, and she has black hair that's cropped like right here, just like like barely coming down to the neck length, like actually the same length as my hair. Like that's what her hair length is, just jet black. She's got this scar on her face. She's not unattractive. Like she's really good looking, but she has this really nasty scar in her face. And as you come in, like the pool looks warm. You see Samantha probably talking with Libby. You see Havelock in the corner looking over some sheets, and they all look up and see y'all walk in. And the war chief comes in and like falls to his knees, exhausted. And the shadowy figure stops in the steam of the pool and turns around and says, "Welcome to my oasis. One of the oases of Oberon." And he turns to mist and disappears. Samantha, you see everyone else arrive.
Even
Before that, I kind of Sid goes to War Chief and he kind of places a hand on him and says, "Thanks."
The war chief doesn't respond. He just sits there, his hands like this, resting in his lap, just looking down. Like I said, yeah, you're all here. You look up and you see them. The only person not here is Sabriel and Daniel.
One who shall never return.
Olivia gives her a hug, but she's not here, so.
Samantha, you look up and you see everyone else, so would you like to say anything as they arrive?
Samantha, whenever y'all walk up, is probably sketching and drawing on a skull that y'all can see. And she kind of like sticks it into her bag and kind of like gestures and is like, "Y'all look like y'all have had a long walk. Take a seat. We're all safe here." Kind of gives like a little smile.
Liza, what are you doing during all this?
Sitting off to the side, writing in a little journal, keeping an eye on those that just walked in, and an eye on those that have already been here.
Cool. You're just watching them. All right. Melandra is like scowling, like as people walk in, but then she looks at Sid, and she kind of not scowling as much. Like the scowl doesn't go away, but she's like, she goes from to like that. It goes from this look of hatred to a look of whatever. Libby, you look up and you see Sid, Jahgardi, and the war chief walk in. The war chief walks in and falls to his knees and just like collapses.
I also forgot to mention Samantha looks like silver bark all over her.
Yeah, Samantha has she has her bark skin cast, but instead of like the normal green bark skin, it's silvery. Kind of like, have you ever seen trees like get a fresh coat of rain and then it freezes instantly? And that little like supernatural like glimmer that it gives them? That's what these look like. Libby, what do you do as these people all walk in? Katie?
I probably stand up from beside Sam, and then I go and I just pick up Sid and Sid, one in each arm, and I bear hug them.
Dope. How do y'all react?
We totally hug her back.
Cool.
And she pulls them tight, and she's like, "I miss you guys."
Jahgardi will just go off in the corner and I don't know.
Go be
contemplate.
alone, you
Yeah.
loser.
That is a fair question, Samantha. Are you naked aside from the bark skin?
No.
Okay.
At this point, I have like trousers on,
Gotcha.
and
Learn common decency.
and then she has like the wrappings for the chest, but not
Mhm.
like an actual shirt. So just
Gotcha.
kind of like
Mhm.
basically wrappings that make up a bra.
Cool. Melandra is fully naked, but she's submerged in the water. She's just sitting there, relaxing. You look over. Do you say anything to Jahgardi? Libby, Samantha, either of y'all?
Samantha probably looks at him as like, he was upgraded to sergeant, right?
Hold up.
Lieutenant.
He's a lieutenant. Yeah.
He's a lieutenant.
Yeah.
Yeah.
She probably nods at him as like lieutenant.
He will not hear it as he's still contemplating the explosion and
Yeah.
yeah.
Ronan,
dust.
you look up, and these people have all arrived.
He's muted.
Oh, he's
Deafened.
deafened. As you all does anyone say anything to the war chief?
Samantha
does what?
I'll say Samantha probably walks up to the war chief and
Me
kind
too.
of like goes to help him up.
He's not really responsive.
Sid
Like you
kind
grab him and
of,
try to like pull him up.
Yeah, Sid kind of goes over and stops Samantha and kind of shakes his head.
Libby, what did you say you did?
I was gonna walk over there as well.
Mhm.
But I was going to kneel beside him, not trying
Okay.
to help him up.
Mhm.
Samantha looks at Sid and kind of like, if he touches her, she kind of like takes a step back and looks at Sid and says, I'm trying to help my friend. I wouldn't want to sleep in that position.
I'm
And
trying to sleep.
The war chief kind of looks up at Libby, like barely lifting his head at all, just like this, kind of looking at her. And what does Libby say?
She kind of gives him a small smile, and she says, "You did well. You should rest now."
Don't patronize me.
at that point, Samantha kind of like gets down on her knee and like grabs his shoulder. And she looks at him in the eye and says, no one's here to patronize you. We're all here for each other. And you know it. And then she kind of like starts to put her hand around him under his arm. And she kind of like gives a little bit of a grip. And she says, but right now you need to sleep. So either lay down where you are or come over here where it's comfortable.
He gets up and follows her.
And she not necessarily pushing him around, but kind of like forcefully helping him until they find a soft patch of grass or something. And she helps him down and then kind of like makes sure he has a pillow or something. And she lays him down and she looks at him and she says, you've done well, old friend. And I will know you will continue to do well.
He lays down on that little patch and begins to fall asleep.
He always-
Melandra,
She says, he always told me you were the strongest. Now I'm starting to see why.
who always told you were the strongest? I'm sorry, I missed a part of something. I don't know. I missed something.
See him.
No. She looks at him as he starts to fall asleep, and she says, he always told me you were the stronger one. And now I'm starting to see why.
Okay, so you're not referring to anyone here. You're just... Gotcha.
If he doesn't understand who I'm talking about,
I don't understand who you're talking about.
The shaman
Fortune's
goblin.
own friend,
the
right?
shaman.
Yeah.
Gotcha.
Yeah.
So, I mean, he may not understand it at this point, especially with the exhaustion,
Mm-hmm.
but
And Melandra at this point is going to start coming out of the water, pulling up a robe around herself. She like walks away from that little corner of the thing and like begins to steam, and the water droplets like evaporate off of her. She she puts on her uniform, not her armor, just her uniform, and walks back up to the group. Looks at Sid and says, "Welcome back, soldiers."
Glad you made it.
I'm glad to see that good soldiers survive. She is standing, like this, just straight back, arms behind her, military posture, straight face. I'm glad to see that good soldiers survive.
Sid's kind of like looking a little bit away because she's not really wearing clothes. And then Sid's just
No,
like
she's
smiling
she's fully dressed. Like, she got in her
Oh.
uniform, yeah.
Oh, okay. Never mind.
Yeah. Her uniform is kind of like undone a little bit. She's like very much so like just like she just threw it on and like buttoned like one or two buttons, that kind of thing. So she's like very much so disheveled because she just got out of the bath, and like threw on an outfit. But it is her uniform and she is technically clothed.
It pops up from Sid's shoulder and says, "I saw an angel."
Can't talk to anyone,
And?
but no, cannot communicate.
Oh,
Lacks the ability to communicate.
psychically?
To Sid, can only communicate with Sid.
Oh, okay.
Hmm.
We saw an angel.
Nobody can hear it.
No, Sid says
Oh,
that
Sid
to
said-
Melandra.
We saw an angel. Melandra, like,
Liza closes her book.
give
and
me.
drops the leather straps.
What were you saying, Sato?
Straps the leather things, tucks it away, and drops off of the seated place where she was and walks over to the group.
Give me a perception check or insight, either one.
Me?
Yes.
No, I can't. It's 4.
Cool. Samantha, are you're over by the war chief? You're not over here with the group, right? With
I
Melandra.
probably walk back.
You can give me one as well if you like,
Perception.
or insight, either one.
I'm better with perception.
May I?
I got a 10.
Are you like standing here in the group?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
I don't think Libby would be perceptive enough to pick this up.
Okay.
Or I don't think she'd be smart. I don't think she'd be perceptive enough to pick up the little clues that's going on here. Liza can, however.
As in, you want me to roll?
Either perception or insight. Yeah, either one.
Can I have advantage because of where we are?
No.
Aw.
That's a 16.
You see, like, Melandra stays, like, exactly like this, but at the mention of an angel, she kind of, like, tilts her head a little bit, and her eyes narrow, and with a 16 insight, which is just above her passive deception, by the way, like, you literally matched her passive deception, she is very much so intrigued by the idea of an angel. Maybe worried would be a better word.
It's nice that you are safe, says Liza, and have made it back to the group.
They don't really respond. Like Sid just kind of like looks and like gives a little smirk, but Sid doesn't.
Melandra curtly nods and turns to walk away.
Where did you see an angel?
It fell like kind of far from us. I don't know. I don't know a lot.
It fell.
From what I saw, it was a fallen angel, I think.
Libby just looks over at Sam and then looks back at the two of them, and then she just kind of has this look like, okay.
Sam then kind of like, it's kind of more like a dad thing, but she kind of like puts her hand on Sid and Sid's neck and kind of like shakes y'all a little bit, and is like, well, either way, no matter what y'all saw, y'all need a little bit of sleep. So it's
Really
your
quick. The first dragon, the scroll of the first dragon does talk about angels, right?
It talks about beings of higher planes and lower planes, yeah. That's why I let you roll that check with advantage.
Did it do anything?
So
Liza asked.
I don't know. I just was able to go close to it and see what it was, and then it teleported. I don't know.
I see.
And Sam's like, well, yes. But like I said, sleep. Now. Both of you. You both look exhausted.
I wanna wash though, but also I don't want to wash in front of everyone.
Well, then we just won't look.
Samantha kind of like looks you up and down. And is
mist,
like,
a thick mist begins to swirl around the pool, obscuring the water from everyone's vision.
I guess that means I can't. She's still like super uncomfortable
Well,
about it.
does that include mine? My special?
Yeah, because it's not darkness. It's like actually water droplets in the air. You know, like obscure. It's like, you know, like looking. It'd be like looking through a solid object.
I want to take off that ring that I attuned to, and then put it in Sid's hand, and then say, "Go have fun," and pat her on the head.
What's the ring?
You and the magic
explain-
people can fight over it.
Did you explain what the ring was to Samantha during the downtime at all?
Me?
Yeah.
Probably.
Then
But she just said you and Ronan can fight over it.
Samantha kind of hands over the bracers to Sid and says, you probably want those, and Ronan wants the ring. Because the ring's kind of big.
What does it do? These do things? I'm confused.
They're the magic items they took from the princess.
I know, in character though.
Samantha kind of looks at the items and smiles, and the ring is probably way too big to fit on any of Siz's hands.
Yeah.
It's a like
It's a
Libby
very
was
large ring.
the princess wore it on her thumb. Libby was wearing it on her ring finger. Samantha can't even wear it on her thumb. So she like looks at it and is like, Ronan probably do better with that one, but I think you'll like the bracers a little bit better.
Sid and Sid, give me perception checks. Because
Sid got a nat 20. Sid got a 13.
Sid looks over and sees Melandra clock the items, and her expression darkens, and you smell brimstone.
Where did these items come from?
Y'all know where they came from.
Oh.
You saw them loot the corpse.
Okay. I don't know. She kind of gives the item to she'll give the ring to Ronan, then she'll look at Samantha and be like, maybe I'll think about it.
She said she looks at you and her expression kind of drops a little bit in recognition of what's happening. She says, just try them on.
Kind of Melandra reacting to it kind of reminded Sid about like where these items came from and like the how everything went down. It's just kind of like,
and she kind of looks at you and she's like, she kind of like lays her hand over it in your hands and is like, just try them on, wear them for a little bit, see what you think. If you don't want them, pass them off. I won't be offended. Just figured you might like.
Jahgardi will say in a whispering voice, all it takes is one sip.
All it takes is one.
Yes, because we're
Addiction.
a vampire society.
Gotcha.
she'll put
cool.
them in her bag, and then
this image of Melandra in my head. I'm sorry, keep going.
But I wouldn't pass them off without something they can do.
Melandra is kind of lounging and like reaches into her bag and says, well, I do have some tea if anyone wants it. And like you see she pulls out like some dried tea, and it's like not cheap tea that you guys are used to in your soldiers' rations. This is stuff that cost hundreds of
I
ducats.
missed. Give it
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, stuff that you would have had growing up in Ackerman's house. She like
So-
pulls out this really nice tea.
She probably goes over there to join her, but like she becomes an entirely different Libby in like action. So instead of this being combat Libby, all of a sudden she's sitting like her noble self, as she's just like preparing for tea time.
Samantha
looks like how she looks on the outside.
Samantha kind of like gives this slightly sad expression to Sid, and then she reaches over and pulls off one of the little cherry blossoms, puts it in Sid's hair.
My hair's a mess. You probably want to wait till after I clean.
She was like, you can do that whenever you're done. And then it just shifts to what are the trees that are actually in the oasis?
Or like
are they
some
Feywild ones? Or are they?
Yeah, they're
real-
Feywild trees.
Okay, so then it shifts to look like the trees that are there. And do they have flowers of any kind?
The trees that are here?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And she pulls off one of them as it shifts, and she like lays it in Sid's hair. Probably like I picture kind of like a bluish or turquoise kind of color. And she's like, now y'all go get cleaned up, and then it's bedtime. Both of you.
Or tea time, says Melandra.
I find sleep is better for an exhausted person.
You haven't had good tea then. Libby looks over at Sam.
She looks at Libby and says, I've had tea before, but I haven't had a good yet. Now sleep.
Real question: would we have ever had like a high quality tea at the?
Nah.
Where? Yeah.
Because you were raised in a cave. you spent your time you spent your time jumping between orphanage and orphanage and a cave. No, you've never had high quality tea.
So Sid and Sarah probably really they want to try this. So they'll clean really quick and then they'll go have some tea.
Well, Melandra pours up some tea. So who all joins at the tea table? It's Libby, obviously, Sid.
Samantha's gonna sit down, but then she's gonna pull the skull back out and start and continue to saw away and continue her project with it.
Sato, are you gonna go join them?
Jahgardi will.
How big was the skull that I got, by the way?
How big was the what you got?
The skull.
Big enough?
Like grown male size or what?
Sure.
Okay.
Hi, Tarzan.
Night, all.
Night. Good night, Mom.
Good night.
Spencer's waving at you, Casa.
Hey there.
Hello.
So, what'd you say, Jahgardi?
Jahgardi will also sit down and drink some tea.
Cool. And Liza?
I don't know if she would drink tea.
Okay. That's fine. But you do see what you see, you know. You see everyone come up to the table. You see, probably Sid very disheveled.
I will join them at the table, but when she looks at me, I will kind of put my hand up and say, no, thank you. As I look at her in the eyes.
You look Melandra in the eyes?
And smile.
Not like we would want you over here anyways. I don't say that.
Melandra doesn't even feign niceties. She just scowls at you. Melandra makes the tea, pours everyone some tea. You guys taste it. It's good tea.
Overtaste.
I'm gonna make
There's no
Sam
such-
taste it, but
Sam will. If you make Sam taste it, she kind of looks at you, almost really, and then her face kind of drops as she takes it from you, and she takes a swig and hands it back, and it's like I said, never good tea.
Melandra just shakes her head, so barbarian.
yeah, Sam.
Sid kind of laughs at that.
She kind of grabs the skull a little bit and is like, "You want to say that again?"
Yeah, Sam.
And she snaps her head at Libby, smiling, and she says, "I'll deal with you later." And then she keeps sawing at the skull. At this point, she's taking anybody that's curious. She's cutting the top section of the skull off.
Mm-hmm.
The crown.
Yeah. Probably taking off actually somewhere in the middle of the nose and the eyes, and just straight back.
Cool. What'd you say, Jahgardi?
Jahgardi is trying to hold it in, but as he takes a sip of the tea, a faint mist of a tear kind of drops from his eye as he remembers the explosion and then his previous teammates.
Liza, as you're sitting here at this table with people, you have another flashback to your father. You are straight-backed, rigid, mimicking his posture. He hasn't given you any instructions. He hasn't told you anything. And sitting with you in this room are the rest of your siblings. You are the picture of perfection. This is your first time ever attending one of these things. Like, he's training y'all. And one of the girls just, like, can't even hold the cup. Like, she's shaking and shivering. The progenitor stands, begins walking back to the other end of the room. There is a blur of motion, and your sister's body explodes into bloody mist. And he turns and sits back down at the other end of the table, observing everyone else. And looks at you and says, "Very good, Liza." And you're back here at this little table with everyone, and your posture is perfect, as it has always been. From that first time you saw your father do it, you were just perfectly able to mimic it. Also, I love that reaction, Siren. Thank you.
She didn't actually die. She just kind of respawned, right?
Yeah,
no, she was very.
sure.
Yeah, let's go with that, Siren. Yeah,
Yeah.
let's go with that. Yeah,
Just bad table manners.
There is no room for imperfection.
And worthless
Oh my
children are
gosh.
definitely needed.
Sato, does Liza?
Liza's going to look around the table at the way each person is holding their cups. Do any of them appear to hold themselves or hold their cups as that of a noble?
It looks like Melandra has like a hint of she knows how to do it, but is intentionally not doing it. Like, she's intentionally being nonchalant about it. Sit and Sid kind of like are trying to be proper, but like they have no clue what they're doing. Jahgardi has no pretense whatsoever. Libby, on the other hand, looks like she knows what she's doing. Like, proper straight back, proper holding of the cup, posturing, like she's doing all the smelling, the tasting, doing it like she's doing everything pretty perfectly. Actually, give me a persuasion check. Persuasion or performance with advantage, Libby.
Okay, let me pull up my sheet.
Sam's just like slunched over.
And add your proficiency bonus to this because you've done this for so long.
And Sam's just sitting there like slunched over, cutting a skull.
What'd you roll, Katie?
Still working on finding the sheet, but let me just go to spam real quick. At advantage?
Yeah.
So
14 plus a lot. Yeah, definitely, like, she's doing it perfectly.
He looks up at her. Your name. It sounds very familiar to another name that I know from the castle.
Capital.
From the capital. Tell me, are you perhaps related to Lord Ackerman?
Libby looks up. That's my father.
Oh, is it?
She nods.
So tell me, Libby Ackerman, why is a lord's daughter on the front lines?
She crunches her brow, and the look on her face is kind of. You can tell she's thinking really hard, and there's a hint of underlying confusion as if she doesn't really know herself. And then she says, I was too much of a monster to be a lady.
At that, Sam will kind of snap up and look at what.
Yeah, he looks at her as well.
She looks up at her and goes, looks back at her empty hands. I don't think that what
In Libby's bag, you see a porcelain white mask.
I thought I lost that. Thanks, Oberon. Scowls at
I do not
Garrett.
think that would be the case anymore. Looks up at her.
I think she was perfectly fine before.
That may be true.
Sam, at that comment, Sam looks at Sid and is just like, right, thank you.
That may be true. She looks over it. Looks into your eyes. Looking into Liza's eyes, you see a deep, ancient, knowing thing.
I feel like I haven't faced like 5 of those already.
Who is looking in?
Do what? I was looking at whoever said that. Was that Sid or Sid?
It was Sir.
You. Yes, the one who controls 3 characters. Thank you. Because that may be true. But she's changed now. As good as she was before. She's better now.
Libby smiles and
Wrinkles her nose. And
her cheeks kind of turn a little pink. And then she says, thank you.
It's over.
What'd you say?
She looks back over at you and just kind of nods down.
Up.
Whatever.
Because she's taller than you. By a lot.
It doesn't matter. I would look over to her and still do like that.
Shut up, midget.
By the way, I had my little like journal underneath the chair on the chair. No, it's okay.
Oh my gosh, wait,
Liza's,
guys. So
Liza's too proud to do something like that. What'd you
I
say?
decided that whenever Libby changed, she got the e-girl white streaks in the front of her face. Like, just white streaks.
She has do you share anything about your father with her, Sato? Because like there's this bond of like a father detached from you that's like, do you feel like from Libby this a kind of connection, like, you know, a girl looking up to a father that she could never compare to? Like, does Liza feel a connection here?
So everybody goes, you know, those of Lavasa, the lords, leaders, whatever they're called now, They've grown fat over the years. She just kind of looks off in the distance a little bit, not really knowing what it is to be a vampire anymore.
Libby scrunches her brow, and then she kind of looks up as if she's thinking, and then she remembers people like, okay, like Germ. I've been imagining Jeffrey as a pretty plump guy. Am I wrong?
She's wrong,
very wrong.
but she's
Okay.
right. She is
Well,
right.
Jeffrey. Okay,
So
Jeffrey kind of has. Jeffrey is
in the
this
description.
long, kind of like Slender Man. Like she has a description of him someplace. He's very fit. Like, but he's got this friendly air about him. Like he doesn't stand at his full height. He kind of slouches, got a smile on his face, has disheveled, messed up hair, like this little prim, like
Okay,
nice
what
face.
about-
Like he's very friendly.
That
What
here
about
was
the
a
one
very
with the weird
metaphorical thing, but what'd you
I
say?
know, I know. But
what?
Libby is very literal.
Mhm.
So, but with the character that has a weird voice, it talks like, kind of talks like this,
Oh!
like-
You mean Matriarch Hyperion?
yes. So, what about her?
Very much so. Like fat, plump, like obese.
So-
And description.
He comes to mind, and then Libby just kind of nods, and she's like, "Yeah." And then she looks over at Liza, and then she says, "In your time, what were vampires like?"
Powerful. Feared. Graceful. Looks you dead in the eye and says, demanding of respect. If any of the vampires that I've met today strike me of that, it would be you.
Did you say remind?
Yes.
She scrunches her brow again.
He sits forward and he goes, I understand what it's like to look up to to have a father that you can never hope to compete with. A father you can never hope to match up to. Looks across the table, again, almost like looking out into nothingness, and goes, but now I say, looks back at you. That is not you anymore.
She looks at Liza, and she looks down at the table, or she looks down at her cup of tea. And she says, really all I've ever wanted is, I guess, to make him proud. And then she looks back at Liza and she says, I don't see the power in me that you speak of.
He smiles at you. He says, join me in Lavassa, and I can show you.
Could you elaborate?
Come back with me. Show your father that you are someone to be proud of and to respect. Show your father how you have grown. Come with me back to Lavassa, and I will help you to learn the power that you now hold.
I'm sure that Liza can relate with thought of like trying to make your father proud, right?
Yeah.
How does that make Liza feel? As Libby says, like she's only ever wanted to make her father proud.
Down goes. You see, you and I have very similar upbringing. Powerful fathers, powerful vampires, who, in one way or the other, or to a lesser degree, have power over Lavassa. The things that happen both there and here. He kind of stirs a little bit and goes, while I was still there, sometimes I felt as though he never even looked at me. He never saw me. He looked at me, but his gaze went through. I was nothing more than a figure, a form, a tool.
Libby looks up and she says, "My father never even looked." Unless I was wearing, and then she looks down at her bag, unless I was wearing a mask.
Come back to Lavassa with me. And he will have to look at you.
She looks around the table and she looks at Sid and Jahgardi and Melandra and Ronan and then lastly Samantha.
Samantha looks scared.
Where you go?
You hear Liza stir next to you. If you were looking at her, you would see her reach down. If you look back at her, you would see her sit up with something in her hand. She takes her hands like this around a white mask.
Hold up, isn't that mask unbreakable, Germ?
Looks at you. Again. You wouldn't be needing this anymore. He would look at you. Not some mask. Pretending that you don't exist. He would see you. A vampire. Worthy of his pride.
My companions deserve that same pride and respect for everything they've done.
Yes. She looks around the table. Yes, they do.
Will we all be going?
I do not have the authority to do that. My influence can bring one to expect you. But it shouldn't take long for you to have the influence to bring them the rest of the way.
Libby looks back at Samantha. What do you think?
Samantha's still looking very puzzled and slightly scared. reaches over and grabs
Grabs.
his hand and kind of squeezes it a little bit as she says,
Melandra looks at the hand and says, "No propriety, troopers."
and she looks at Libby and says, "We have plans, you know."
Oh, we'll take down Heracles. No doubt about it.
And she kind of squeezes your hand a little bit, and she says, "Don't be gone too long if you go." And she stands up and walks away.
Libby looks back at Sid, and then this excitement on her face that you haven't seen in a while just lights up.
What do you think you're gonna do?
I don't know.
What kind of political influence will being that type of vampire get her? Do you think she'll actually be able to end up on the consulate?
Is that an in-character question or an out-of-character question? And if it's an
I've-
out-of-character,
if-
who's it directed to?
If my character would know.
She's a vampire. She can achieve any office she wants to. She can do whatever the heck she wants to.
She's also a noble's daughter.
full-blood. Yeah, she is a pure-blooded vampire. Like 1 in a million out of a billion vampires, she's probably the only one like this that exists. Liza and her. She's the daughter of a war hero. She's a war hero herself.
You could.
She's attractive. Like, she's really good looking. So she has a lot going for her.
Libby, you could make some serious change.
I don't even know what I would do.
What do you want?
You will learn. Liza kind of puts her hand up. Like I said, I will show you. I am not new to the realms of politics.
There is another flashback of Liza walking through a hall, voices echoing, and there is a figure sitting on a dais overlooking all of it. Many of the same faces that were seen in the previous scene, but far fewer, about half. Still, a bunch of your siblings. Gossip and information is passing back and forth. Somebody drops something, and before it hits the ground, there is a flick of motion, and across the room, he turns into red mist. And Liza, again, is doing perfectly imitating what her father taught her without even being given instruction. You know politics.
Understand the workings, ins and outs, and I can teach you. You need not fear your ignorance, for that will come with time.
Libby smiles softly and she nods.
Liza smiles back.
And I think that's probably where we're going to end it for tonight.